Are you serious, guys? Are you serious? Are you serious? Welcome to this is YouTube version of the coming apocalypse, and we certainly are in a.
Yes, I'm not allowed to be frivolous.
Well, I didn't say you're allowed to be frivolous. Are you serious? Is what I said, not frivolous. Anyway, Heidi's back there behind me, studying her Hebrew, and she, of course, is going to be teaching her Hebrew class here in about a half hour, I guess. I just said, "Are you serious?" I didn't say I was frivolous, or that he was frivolous, or whoever this is on this watch. Anyway, guys, so glad to have all of you here. Let me put a quick shout out: noblegoldinvestment.com, www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Guys, seriously, not frivolously, take a look at your stock in the stock market, your 401k, retirement funds. Make sure they're where they want you. Are they where you want them to be? Okay. Do you have enough to hang on to the end of your lifetime even? So look this over, ask yourself, maybe you should diversify. The stock market is starting to tumble. There's a lot of insecurity there. So check it out. Go to www.noblegoldinvestment.com. That's www.noblegoldinvestment.com. Why am I looking so nice? Well, I just got into doing television. I was on television this morning on VTN, Victory Television Network, out of Little Rock, Arkansas. That's where we're at right now today. I'm in Little Rock, Arkansas. Just did a television appearance. It's going to air next week on a show called Arkansas Live, and you'll be able to watch it out of Little Rock, Arkansas, Jonesboro, Arkansas, and Hot Springs, Arkansas, and part of Memphis, Tennessee. We'll be able to see this on television next week. I don't know the exact day, but it will be next week. I will then get a copy of it and air it on this YouTube channel for you folks after it airs. But we were sitting in the studio this morning, taping it with Pastor Happy Caldwell, who is the president and CEO of Victory Television Network. And he said to me, he was interviewing me. Heidi was sitting there in the studio also. And so she did a 3-minute video clip of the conversation. The volume's a little low. That's because she was sitting quite a ways back. But you can hear it. You crank everything up. You can hear it. It's a very good. He asked me some very good questions about Russia and Ukraine and how this is where in Bible prophecy are we watching this? And of course, I went into Daniel chapter 7, verse 5 about the bear and how he takes a bite out of 3 ribs. And he's told by the demons that are controlling him to devour much flesh. And that's what we're seeing right now in the news right now as we speak. We see the bombing of the civilians. They are devouring much flesh. Over 2 million people have had to flee Ukraine. The Ukrainians did nothing to provoke this. They did nothing to provoke this. And we all know that. And I said it, the thief cometh not, but for to kill, steal, and destroy. What is Putin doing? Killing, stealing, and destroying. And he has no remorse and there's nothing about what he's doing directed by God. God is allowing the demon or Gog to manipulate the mind of Vladimir Putin, to do and to manipulate his spirit, which is prophecy. It's a territorial demon that's been there through Karl Marx, Joseph Stalin, Brezhnev, on into now this KGB agent by the name of Vladimir Putin. But that's not what I want to talk about. We did discuss that in that. But what I want to discuss today for you is the more spiritual effects of what this war is doing. If you go with me to Revelation chapter 6, I think this is very important. We're going to have a wheat apocalypse, because Russia and Ukraine is the breadbasket of the world. 25% of the wheat and barley that's grown in the world is in Ukraine. 33% of the wheat and barley in the world is grown between Ukraine and Russia. So this is huge. And the Bible says that Look at the price of gas. It went up 10 cents on the gallon last night. It was 4.07 nationally for the cheap stuff. It's now 4.17 a gallon right now in America. And the end is not even in sight. I'm telling you now, I made a prediction yesterday on YouTube that by April 1st, it will be over $5 a gallon for the cheap stuff nationally. California, look out, you're going somewhere to $7 a gallon. It will not let up, guys. And why is this happening? Because the hands of evil men are manipulating now the price of these commodities that the world needs. But where are they grown? Where is it harvested? This is the key point that will help bring about this great reset of this new world order that will come to pass, that the Antichrist will be the head of. Let's read this together. It's in the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. If you go to Revelation chapter 6, verses 1, I'll just read verse 1, but I'll get you to the black horse. That's the third horse. I saw when the beast opened one of the seals. This is Revelation chapter 6. When he opened one of the seals, I heard as it were the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw and behold a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. And when he had opened the second seal, so that white horse is the global cabal, the new world order, that the demonic spirit of the Antichrist, the fake white horse rider, because Jesus returns on the white horse. He's the real white horse conqueror of the world. He will set up his kingdom and reign here, right on this planet, for 1,000 years. And so anyway, this first horseman of the apocalypse, the coming revelation, the coming unveiling, is the Antichrist spirit. Number 2, there went out another horse that was red like blood, red like China, red like Russia. And power was given unto him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And right now, nobody can sleep at night. The threat of nuclear annihilation is on the minds of every European nation. The Americans, everyone on the West, is being threatened by Vladimir Putin if anybody tries to intervene to save the Ukrainians, including the Ukrainian Jews, which are 8,000 of them that are trying to get out of Ukraine. And there's thousands of Russian Jews who would love to leave Russia. And already Putin and Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett have already had a 3-hour meeting last Saturday on the Sabbath in Moscow, discussing the fate of the Jewish people in both Ukraine and Russia. So huge peace is being taken from the earth by wars and rumors of wars, and that they should kill one another. What are they doing right now? Killing one another. And there was given to him a great sword. Who? The rider of the red horse. A great sword is that great threat, which is nuclear annihilation, or maybe the rod of God, or some other secret weapon he may have that God revealed to me 3 months ago that he has. And he will use it if pushed into a corner. And the dread on people's faces in my dream was unbelievable. That's why I put it on Patreon. And I explained the dream in an interview with Agent X so that he could help me understand what it was I saw. What were these weapons? What was these uniforms? Why was it Russia and Ukraine and then Israel? And I shared this 3 months ago before Putin ever made his move. Matter of fact, we did a webinar called The Armies of the Antichrist. We did that. Heidi, when did we do that? That was in December. It was December 4th. And Putin doesn't make his move until February, on February 21st, the day after the Olympics, which I told you he would do it that day. So God spoke to us and said, and to do a webinar called The Armies of the Antichrist, and to show you that these armies are building and are preparing to make their move in these last days. So what does it do? It takes peace from the earth. But the next horse I want to share, And when he opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, "Come and see." And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. Okay, so in other words, he controls and manipulates the economy, including the wheat. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, "A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Now here's the key to this. Russia and Ukraine is where the wheat and the barley is. It's going to be manipulated on the balanced scales of the economy. By this coming fall, if 33% of the world's wheat and barley is grown in Ukraine and Russia, and they don't plant it this year because they're fighting, then come next fall and into about this time next year, there will be a major shortage of food. Prices will be outrageous. And you will literally, the cost of everything that we have that has wheat and barley in it, which is almost everything you eat, packaged stuff that comes in on the shelves, will be not there, or such shortage that the whole world, there'll be hunger in places of the world, and the prices will be outrageous. Now get this. But it says, "See thou hurt not the oil and the wine." Where is the oil and the wine? The number one producer of olive oil is Israel. Also, Israel has unbelievable amounts of oil reserves that they have found recently, both in Israel, in the land where God has already covenanted to them, and in the Mediterranean, just off the coast of Israel, which is also Israel's. This is oil that Russia wants as well. And where is the wine? No, I'm sorry, Napa Valley, California. I'm sorry to the French. I'm sorry to the Germans. I'm sorry to anybody and everybody. The best wine in the world comes from the grapes of Israel. So this is the land that flows with milk and honey. It is the land of the oil and the wine. So what God is saying in this prophecy here, when the black horseman of the apocalypse gallops, he's going after the wheat and the barley is going to be affected, but you better not touch the oil and the wine. In other words, God is saying to the Antichrist spirit, you better not go after the oil and the wine. In other words, you better not touch the apple of God's eye. You better not try to divide the land in Joel 3. And listen, wow, because God will lift his hand, and I'll let Heidi teach on that. That's going to be awesome. Those of you taking the Hebrew class, that's going to be awesome. So anyway, this is the time of the horsemen. The black horsemen now is really starting, and this is the time of creating of the global reset, which is part of bringing about the Antichrist and the mark of the beast. Okay. Now, also, the pale horse has already been galloping also. That's what gave us our first pandemic or plandemic. Yes, though, a lot of people did die from it. But that's just the beginning of sorrows, of the plagues that the Lord told me when this came out, the Lord showed me a cloud. He told me to take communion with everybody in the body of Christ on Passover, which was also Good Friday, and we did. And many people were spared of their lives because of that. The Lord then told me, but this too shall pass, but another more deadlier shall come. More shall come. And so we're not out of the woods for that's concerned. The pale horse doesn't quit riding. The red horse won't stop riding. The white horse is not going to stop riding. The black horse is just now kicking in to really ride. I'm going to recommend, for those of you who have been storing up and storing up and storing up, I'm going to recommend you eat some of your food you have stored. Because one way to beat this inflation is not to buy when things are sky high. Don't buy the stuff that's sky high. Buy the stuff that's still low. Buy the things that are still cheap. Eat from your storage bins, because that's what they're there for. Because this period of time that we're getting ready to go through, you need to be able to economically not let the black horse strip you. So some things you can buy because the price is good. So buy the things the price is good and eat the things you have already stored. Don't worry, God's going to provide you with more. You'll store again. Got to get through this period. So kind of consider that as you go. Don't stop in your normal way of living. Don't shirk on God, whatever you do. I mean that. Do not cut God's offerings out and think you're going to get through a tough time. That will bury you. Keep doing what you do. Be wise. Be frugal, and yet be faithful. Okay? So be wise, be frugal, but be faithful. And the Lord will bless you. And so we're coming into a season now of great blessings, although the world is going to be struggling. And they're going to really going to hear a lot of moaning and groaning out there in the media and everywhere. And everybody's, and all these politicians are going to point fingers at one another. We don't need that. Don't get all caught up in the midterms and all the politics. Okay, God's got that under control. He's already going to do he already knows how he's going to restructure the government. He knows what's going to happen there. You just do what you're supposed to do. Be faithful in your voting. Be faithful in your prayer life. Be faithful in your giving. Be faithful to God, and be frugal. And don't say, well, I got to hang on, Pastor. It's going to get worse. No, we're going to go through a bubble, and then we're going to go back. It's not the end of days yet, but things are progressing. Things are definitely happening. So stay faithful, stay frugal, and keep going, and occupy, and God will continue to bless. Souls are going to continue to get saved. The harvest is coming in. This is the end of days. Amen. All right. So I wanted to share that with you. Now, there's a lot more going on. I'm going to be busy here all day. Listen to this. The effects of this whole thing is affecting the climate as well. The effects of Planet X, the crisis that we're on. You know, this webinar we're having Friday. God, we're only 3 days away. Do you have your tickets? Oh, my Lord, I better say something about that. Do you have your tickets? Because people are getting them now. They're getting them like crazy. They want to get them. So get yours today. Get your ticket right now. Go to paulbegleyprophecy.com and click it and get your ticket. 3 days left. The webinar is going to start in a little over 72 hours from now. You got to be ready to go when we send that mass emails out to all of you with your link. Mike Around the World's presentation was so incredible that I actually even put I put a 5-minute segment of up on YouTube for people to hear a little bit of it. And I put a 5-minute segment on Patreon for some people to hear what that was, because that was sensitive. But the whole thing, I can only share a couple little parts, because the bulk of it, the beef of it, the revelation knowledge of it, the intel he shares will blow you away. And then there's Steve Quayle. I believe it might have been Steve's finest hour. Matter of fact, when we filmed it, Israel said to me when we were filming, he said, Pastor, I think that's the best I ever heard Steve Quayle. That was incredible. And it makes you have to think about man's ability to help manipulate these signs, basically these plagues, these effects, as well as God's hand to do it. And whether man or God is doing it, the signs of the coming of the Lord is upon us. Okay, they are definitely upon us. So we're living in these last days, and if there was ever a time people need to give their life to Jesus Christ, it is right now, right here, right now. I tell you what, we're going to play a song, and we'll be right back to tell you a little bit more here. We are truly living in the end times, though. I'll tell you that right now. And the Bible tells us that we should prepare for an hour you think not. The Son of Man will come. He also told me this, and I said this a lot about the rapture today in this interview. The Lord said, pray that you be worthy to escape the hour of temptation that's coming upon the earth. The hour of temptation. This is an hour where men will be forced to choose God or the beast. Pray that you be worthy to escape that hour. If you can, in Jesus' name. Be right back.
The earth can shake, the sky come down, the mountains all fall to the ground. But I will fear none of those things. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Dark waters rise, the thunder pounds, the wheels of war are going round, and all the walls are crumbling. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Hide me underneath your wings. Hide me deep inside your heart. In your refuge, cover me. The world can shake, but Lord, I'm making you my hiding place. The wind will blow, the rain can pour.
That's right.
The deluge break, the tempest roar. But in that storm, my spirit sings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings.
Are you serious? This is why we need to be sheltered. Psalms 91, live by it every day.
Hide me underneath your wings. Hide me deep inside your heart. In your refuge, cover me. The world can shake, but Lord, I'm making you my hiding place. Now on that day, you call for me. Someday when time no more shall be, and I say, death, where is your sting? Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings.
Don't miss the Bible study tonight. Starts at 6 o'clock. Is that right? Yeah, 6 o'clock. We're studying Revelation chapter 21. It's going to be awesome. About that new heaven and that new earth. And just how spectacular it's going to be. Revelation chapter 21 tonight, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Also, I'm teaching my demonology class. What? We're going to talk about the zombie apocalypse. It's in the Bible. The demons are being turned loose.
You call for me someday when time no more shall be. Well, I say, death, where is your sting? Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings. Shelter me, Lord, underneath your wings.
Another good point. 90%, 80% of fertilizer in Ukraine. That's a huge point. That's going to affect crops everywhere. It's a great point there that a large amount of fertilizer is made there, and it's also made in China, a large amount. But yeah, you're right. That's a big deal, and that will affect also in a big way. So the breadbasket of the earth, wheat apocalypse, it's beginning. because they're not going to harvest any. They can't. They're running for their lives. The thief cometh not but for to kill, steal, and destroy. And that's what's happening there right now. We need to pray for the people of Ukraine and Russia, because many of the Russians are in prison. Putin has thrown almost 10,000 of them in jail for protesting against this war. The people in Russia know that this is a violent act upon an innocent people. And there's no justification. You could say, well, it's a corrupt government. Like Russia's not a corrupt government. Like America doesn't have corruption in its government. Like China's not a corrupt government. And why is Biden wanting to buy oil from Venezuela? I mean, that's going from bad to worse. And then he's trying to work with Iran to set a new nuke deal so they can have the freedom to have nuclear weapons in 2.5 years. I mean, who is he running with? What is going on here, guys? The truth is the demons of hell are been turned loose. And that's why tonight, first of all, don't miss our Bible study. Heidi's teaching the Hebrew class. I think that's at 5 o'clock tonight, Eastern. That's in a few minutes. And then at 6 o'clock Eastern, Heidi and I together are going to teach Revelation chapter 21. And that's going to be powerful. That's a free Bible study right here on YouTube and also on Zoom if you want to be in the Zoom crowd. And then tonight, I'll be teaching at 8 p.m. Eastern. Is that right? Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be teaching on demons and demonology. That is my class at the Public School of Prophecy. And we're going to focus on a lot of the demons that I list in this book I wrote called Zombie Apocalypse, The Return of Legion. Demons are loosed. Okay. And we'll be in this today. Plus, with the teachings of Dr. Lester Summerall on demonology, all of that tonight. So don't miss that if you're in my class tonight. All right, guys. And plus, I'm going to continue to give you updates. There's more taking place right now. It's a disaster. The civilization, the civilians are being bombed last night and today is ungodly. It looks like World War II. It's horrific. And there's no end in sight to the brutality of the beast. Remember, I've said this many times. We're on the brink of the beast. We're on the edge of eternity. The era of the apocalypse, something biblical is going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. If you're not born again, this is it, folks. I'm telling you, the Lord is coming soon. And I'm here in Little Rock, Arkansas. I just got doing a television interview with Dr. Happy Caldwell on Arkansas Live here out of Little Rock, Arkansas. That television show, I just taped it, will air next week. Now, from then, tomorrow, I'm headed to Branson, Missouri, where I'll get prepared to tape 2 television shows with Jim Baker. And he wants to talk about, guess what? Armies of the Antichrist.
What is it?
That webinar I had, he wants to talk about why did God inspire us to do it? What does it mean? And what is this Russia-Ukraine thing? He wants to dig into that, and that's going to be big. So I'm going to be taping those. So God bless all of you. But we're going to stay busy. And our webinar is Friday at 6 p.m. Friday at 6 p.m. Get your tickets now for Climate Crisis. Go right now. And if you didn't hear Mike Around the World's presentation about they found the abyss of demons, he's never shared that before. It's intel that had never been shared before. I've been studying on this subject forever. It's over at Patreon. Go check it out. It's on Patreon. All right, guys, get your tickets. Climate Crisis is coming soon. Friday at 6 p.m. I'll be back with more right here on this YouTube channel.